Hello YouTube, this is Karacakes bringing you another PGA Tour 2K23 video. You know how I said last week that I was back and I was going to make more regular content? Yeah, well, I had a job interview, or a project interview, and it consumed a lot of my brain power for the week, so between stressing about that all week and a couple of busy things happening in life as well, I ended up kind of taking the week off. I did stream on Friday and we played some casual society stuff, so haven't quit the game quite yet. Don't worry. Wasn't a false statement. We're gonna be back to it. So I'm gonna start with doing some CC round 1. So it's the Wake Up challenge this week on CC with a pretty tricky course, Maori. I played this in 2K21. It's a very good course. A lot of fun. The fairways can be a little tight in certain spots. A lot of the it's like a sandbelt type link style course. Combination of all that and some pretty fast greens if I recall correctly. So let's see what we got this week. It is US Open week, right? So usually when it's a major weekend in real life, they usually give us a bunch of major level courses. Even if you're in CC, it's like basically treat this like a major week. So we have green tees, back tees, pin 1, that's cool. Medium wins, so not too difficult, but definitely not on the easier side of CC. Like, this course is tough, and so round 1, if this wasn't like a major week, I would probably say it'd be a little easier than this. But no very firms at least. The fast greens are made for this game. They work mostly flat, but a lot of runoff on approaches, so you need to be pretty precise and you need to be below the hole. Don't go above the hole. But we'll see that in the round. Let's get to it, and let's give you a CC preview for this week. This video will be up. I guess I'm recording this Sunday night, so I'll have it released at like 7 a.m. on Monday, tomorrow. So expect to see it in your inboxes tomorrow. I mean, obviously you won't be able to see this until then, so duh. So as you can see, very linksy, where you don't have a lot of protection from these bunkers. If it runs, it'll run towards the bunkers, so you need to be aiming in good spots. This is a very tough first hole right away, because you have wind in your face, bunkers left and right, and it's uphill in elevation. You can see it's still uphill at towards the hole, so this is probably at least like up like 15 or so. You could tell it's uphill if you go to a lower camera angle, and just like looking at it, you can kind of tell that it's a lot higher than it is the tee box, and then you could see it goes back even more uphill there. So try to get into the fairway here with firm. You have to keep it in mind, but with the wind in our face, it shouldn't get too far. I'm thinking it probably lands like somewhere here, because if we take 10 yards off for the elevation, and then, or like 5 yards off for the elevation, and then another 10 yards, 15 yards for the wind, 282, like it can get to this bunker if you're unlucky. Just don't be here, okay? So let's try. Aim for the middle of the fairway. If you want to be safe, I'm going to be safe here. I'm going to de-loft to cut out some distance as well. So let's get it. Felt fast, but we gave ourselves enough wiggle room. And that's something you need to do. Make sure you don't go hitting it over, you know, too fast. So give yourself some space to miss fast, like I did, right? More in the middle of the fairway. And now I'm rewarded, even though I got the fast, right? I'm rewarded technically because I'm closer to the green than I would have been. All right, so we have a big lie at our feet, and wind's pushing us over there, so it's going to cancel out a lot of our push to the right that we normally have. That being said, I think I'm going to want to aim, you're going to want to aim more in the middle of the green than you are, because if you attack this and you hit it slow, you're going to be off the green. It'll be here or here, you know, gets over here, it's just off the green. If you're on the right side of this, if you land like here, there's a chance that this just goes off the green, because these are fast greens. So, you know, you have a slope to play with here, you are playing a shorter iron, so it is going to be tricky. This is a tricky one. It's going to be about precision. You're going to want to kind of land right here in this area, and you'll have a good shot. And again, like I said, try not to be long. Downhill putt on 155. These are moving pretty quickly, and there's a lot of break. It'll be a tough putt if you don't get it right. Let's do it. We hit it perfect. We're on the left side, like I said. And that's good. It rolls out, gives us a good spot. I'm okay with this. Like, it's not the best shot I could have done, but I don't mind this. If you tend to overhit these on your power, play this shorter, because as you can see, it starts to roll off the green past the hole. So if you have a proclivity to overhit your putts, make sure you don't overhit it, or, you know, take some distance off. Be lucky to make this. It's a tough putt. 15 feet. Very fast beads on the first, and then it slows down. Then it speeds back up. Hit the right power. It just lips out. I thought maybe it needed a little bit more, but I thought I was over aiming, honestly. I knew it was breaking really hard on my feet. Unlucky. We take it though. As you can see, I am not perfect. That's why I also like to play these, is to show everybody, hey, you know, even the top players will struggle. Little wind at our back. So you have a lot of downhill elevation and wind at your back. It's gonna get a couple yards, all right? I'm probably gonna get like 10 yards, 11 yards more than you expect from this club, because a little bit of downwind's probably gonna add like 2 yards to that. It's about seven yards downhill, right? 7 yards. So we're looking at 191, 189. And then remember, you're going to hit it off the tee. If you hit 102s a lot in this game, and you don't go for that 100% power because you like that slight pause at the top of your swing, remember that adds distance. You're off the tee, it's a guaranteed 100% lie. That means you're adding 4 yards if you get a 102. So again, keep that in mind. 189, you know, we're doing that math. If it's 189, that means really it's 185. So loft the crap out of this in my situation and try to land it a little short. I'm trying to land it right around here, and if it stays here, I'm good. We're trying to land it in this zone because if you could see that it's yellow over here. So try to be right of the pin and let it feed back down to the left. Hitting good tempos. And look at that, right where I wanted it, like I said. Funnels to the left, and we have a great shot. Beautiful. That's knowing your math, knowing your elevation, and then knowing how much loft or de-loft you need to use on your club to match that elevation. With wind at our back, I didn't have to, or wind mostly sideways, I didn't have to worry about, oh, if I loft it into the air, the wind's going to play more, and now I have to do 2 calculations, right? But in this situation, we did it well. So here you have some options, actually. You can play this side of the fairway if you really want to. Because you'll get 168 in, and it's a little less narrow than this fairway here. Like, because if you hit it, if you aim middle and you end up on the left side because of fast or something, you have way more fairway to work with over here. This is the more advanced play, obviously. This is what I'm going to go for, but just keep this in mind. If you want a slightly easier drive, you have this fairway to play for. I'm going to play for this fairway because it'll cut out the distance, right? It's going to get like, you know, it'll be like 30, 40 yards closer if you aim over here and get it in the fairway. I'm going to shape it left to right to try to hold this fairway, because if I hit it straight through, there's a potential it goes through and gets into that sand past where it lands. So I'm going to do this, shape it into the wind, and see what we can get. Shaping into the wind also cuts out a couple yards too, so not only are you losing yardage because you're shaping, but you lose yardage into the wind as you shape as well. And as you can see, we hold the fairway very comfortably. You could probably just hit it straight up, but I like that. All right, so wind in our face and a little uphill lie. So this is a matter of like how close do you want to get. So I don't have to do any shape here. I could probably hit this club straight up, but wind in our face means like if this wind plays a little bit more than expected, I could be short. So something I'm going to do, I'm going to add like 1 yard of distance and then with D-loft and then put a lot of spin on this and see if we can get this. It felt fast. Just hoping it stays somewhere reasonable. Perfect. That is reasonable enough. When you miss tempo, you're just hoping for something where you have a chance. Fast greens, pay attention to them. Try to get a good read on it. Beads aren't moving exceptionally fast, except at the end it starts to speed up a little bit. 18. Like everything is screaming about 40, but the end adds a little bit more. I'm looking around 50, so I'm gonna aim. Yeah, this is pretty good aim. I'm gonna go a little tiny bit more to the left. If I miss high, I'm gonna be sad, so let's go back a little bit. Perfect. I underhit it slightly. Very slightly underhit it, so I think I got a little lucky, but that was a pretty good read nonetheless. You know, if I missed it, if I miss it a little high there, I won't be so hurt because I did bring it back. So, all right. With wind at your back, you might be able to reach this in one, but obviously this round you can't reach it in one. So here you go again. Pay attention to distance, right? So you don't need to go and drive this. It's gonna be tough to hold, like, to get over this bunker. You have a little bit of downhill, so if you have all the boosts activated like I do here and you get the max 307 yards or whatever, like hitting 102 off the tee, you might get over all this. But it's a matter of, do you want to be that close, because you're going to be 60, 50 yards away, right? It's going to bounce and roll out pretty significantly. So if you're comfortable with a short pitch shot, then by all means go for it. But I'm not too comfortable with that short pitch shot, so I'm going to take a 3-wood and leave myself with a lob wedge length or so. Little fast. So that's exactly it. That's what I wanted. Roughly lob wedge length. I'm going to have to de-loft here because, as you can see, slightly uphill at my feet. Not really, but enough. And then slight wind in my face, and I have to cover some distance. So I'm going to de-loft it, see if we can't hold it up like right around here. Pretty significant lie at our feet. We got to respect it. Oh, almost, almost. Really good read. But we almost went too far. But left ourselves a good putt, and that's the beauty of the lob wedge, right? It's gonna stop. Even if you had a little bit of forward spin and stuff, it's gonna stop, especially when you have wind in your face. Wind in your face really adds that spin. All right, now you get to bomb away on a par 5, but keep in mind, remember, look at the distance to the bunker. We shouldn't get 400 yards, but keep that in mind, okay? I'm even gonna like de-loft slightly just to cut off some distance. I don't want to risk being in a bunker or something. Since it's downhill, the wind's gonna play a little bit more on your driver, and the driver is the most impacted by the wind. So I just wanted to play it safe. As you can see, we probably weren't gonna reach ever in our life, but it doesn't hurt to be safe sometimes. Wind plays pretty aggressively on my longer irons, makes lofting very hard on them. I'm gonna loft extra aggressively. Normally I would only loft like 4 yards or so, but because it's straight tailwind at my back on a long club, it tends to play a lot more than you expect. Little fast is unfortunate. It's gonna be on the left, but I'm okay with this. Ooh, if it just gets a little bit further, it would have been really good. But this is a good eagle chance. I just didn't want to be past the green, past the hole. But as you can see, there is like slopes to play for over here, so like it wouldn't have been the worst for me to just go straight up at the pin with an aggressive distance. I didn't need to loft as much, but still got more distance than I would have done if I had played 4 yards. It would have gone pretty far. 23. Beads are moving pretty quickly. Gonna give it a little bit more. Might miss high, but I won't be offended if I do. On the longer putts, I tend to be fine if I miss a little high. Oh, we just didn't have the juice. We hit it, underhit it very slightly, and it dies. Good read. Had a chance at an eagle, but we'll take our birdie. Top course, like I said. As you can see, these greens are quick. You're gonna have some longer putts. You just do not want to have downhill putts that often. Here we go. Wind at our back, downhill elevation again. Firm fairways is going to get like 350 or so. So do you want to play a lob wedge? Do you want to cut yourself back? If you have a longer lob wedge than me, maybe you need to play like, you know, to 330. So take off some distance if you need to. I'm also going to take off just a little bit of distance. I don't want to get too close, right? I keep stressing this, like, pitch shots are tough if you are not super comfortable with them. So be careful. As you can see, 355 even with a little D-loft. So, as I said, we have downhill lie, downhill, and downwind. So I need to loft this pretty aggressively. I'm going to even put some spin on it. Big lie at our feet. Perfect. It's going to bounce. But with that spin, it at least holds it up after that first bounce. Goes a little bit left. That's why I played that. Saw the foot lie. Another excellent shot. So as you can see, it's about controlling your distances when you have wind at your back because you don't want to be too close. Here we go. So this green is extremely difficult. The reason, balls with these fast greens tend to go to the left. So it wants to go left, and then if it gets too far left, if it touches here, or if it gets to about here, it just wants to go hard left. So you gotta really, like, this is where you need your math to be good. I'm gonna de-loft pretty significantly, put a little bit of spin, see if I can't get it on the right side of the green. Slow, and hopefully slow down a little bit. Speaking of slow, here's a slow. So like I said, we want to be as far right on this green as possible because it just wants to funnel to the left. And as you can see, we really controlled the distance really well there. 22 feet. See if we can get this eagle. Again, be careful with your power. It wants to run away, so... I like this. Just a little high. Don't mind it, though. Missing low here is really scary, because if you miss too low there, it's going to be off the green. So, I wanted to make sure I was on the high side. Yes, it screws me out of a second eagle opportunity, but those, you're just looking to get your guaranteed birdie. Eagle is like your makeup and, like, you know, you exceeded expectations, but like a simple 2-putt on a hole like that where the ball can very easily get away from you is beneficial. If you're off the green there, it's going to be tough because it's a lot of distance, a lot of distance control you're gonna have to do. It's gonna be a chip or a pitch or a flop, and if you miss hit, you're gonna be off the green. So be careful. Just try to be on the green with your first shot, and then the second shot, just get it close to the hole without going off the green. Here we go. We're going to do the approach here. The drive is very straightforward. Just hit it into the fairway. Big giant camber, wind carrying it to the right as well, and I shanked to the right. I gotta aim so far left. Luckily we have a slope here we can play with. If we land somewhere like here, it's gonna bounce to the left a little bit and pretty much stop because wind's in our face. So I'm kind of looking at that like, that looks tasty. I think we can do this. 141. If the wind's playing like 8.5 yards, looking about 10 yards. 151. So this is running a little short. I think that'll be good for me. It's a big slope. We want to respect the slope and the wind. I like that tempo. As we can see, we got right at the... Oh, very nice. Very nice. That's a beautiful shot. Like I said, I felt good about the distance. I did feel good about the distance there. Aiming is always going to be the hardest part about that because there's such a slope at your feet and you can't know exactly how much that pushes you. Alright, so again, a slightly longer par 4 that plays much shorter with the wind at our back and the downhill elevation, so this is going to get pretty far. We're looking at 370. Again, I'm looking at cutting off my distance a little bit. 3 wood, maybe a partial, maybe pretty heavily de-lofted. I think a pretty heavily de-lofted is good here. I think it should get like 330 if I de-loft this much, maybe even 340, 350. That should still be in wedge range, so I'm pretty comfortable with this. And exactly 340 to 350. What did I just say? All right, wind at our back. Doesn't play too much on a sand wedge unless you have a really long sand wedge. If you have like a club that only goes like 120 or less here, the wind starts to really start to play a lot less. So I'm looking at 24, 125, 117. Maybe this is playing like right at the pin, so I'm going to loft it just a touch, a little bit of spin. It should bounce once and stop. That's our plan. Bounce short of the hole, bounce once, and stop. Very nice. I don't want to be above the hole, but on a hole like this where you don't have a lot of room to work with, it's tough not to be past the hole. So just trust yourself, take off the power if you need to, and just hit it true. Very good. You know, take off power there if you're worried about rolling off the green. That's always going to be tough there, because wind just wants to take it and bring it forward. If you have wind in your face on a hole like that, it actually makes it a lot easier to stop the ball and stop it from bouncing that like 3-4 yards that you saw it bounce. It bounced very aggressively, and that's because the wind at your back and the firm greens really take the ball. Is a tough one because, again, wind is at your back. You have a slope to play with over here. If you land it short and can get it to, like, hit here, it bounces right, it gets onto the green, and then comes to the left. And then you have a little bit of slope to slow it down as well because this is coming towards you. So this is the area you want to kind of be. Landed it back here in the fairway, get it to bounce once, roll onto the green, and hopefully come back to the left. Tough hole though. Definitely a tough hole. I gotta lock this to get that distance that I want off of it. Felt slow. But I did aim quite a bit to the left, so it should still get to the left. I think it's just gonna aggressively bounce instead of gently bounce. If I get that perfect, what happens is it bounces right and then goes left. Whereas there, it just bounces left and keeps the momentum, so it keeps running off, running down. So if you can sort of aim in that area and get the right distance dialed in, it will stop. But in my case, because I hit it to the right and hit the slope to the left, It made it tough to stop the ball. But as is, this is a good opportunity on a tough par three. Any par threes like this, you're just trying to get a good opportunity at a putt. Aimed it pretty high. Oh, great read. Great read. That's what I mean. If you give yourself a chance with a reasonably length putt, who knows? You might make a hole that looks like near impossible into something that works. Again, distance control. This course is all about making sure you're in the fairway, right? And controlling your distance. So if you hit this fast, it's going to be in the bunker. And if you take the aggressive line, but hit it slow, you're going to be in the sand. So this is one of those, again, do you trust your tempo? The best play is like a little bit of a fade in my scenario. If you're a lefty, a draw. Bring it left to right so that it can use the fairway that juts out to the right. You're going to have to hit it perfect if you do this, but this is probably the best play to make sure it gets into the fairway. You need to cut off some distance as well, but it's a tempo check. It's downhill, it's downwind. You just need to get a good tempo so that it stays in that fairway. I think that's rough. Yep. Very unlucky that that touches the rough. And as you can see, that's the problem. That's the problem, is that... And technically, IRL, this wouldn't... I don't think this counts as a rough lie IRL, because it would be like... The ball is only in the rough on this, not on the club side, so... This isn't in the rough, but it is because of the game. The game's mechanics, so... Let's just try to get it in a good spot on the green, if we can reach. It's gonna be tough to control the distance. It might be past the green, it might not be. Who knows? We'll see. Ooh, I hit that so fast. Please kick to the right. That's unfortunate. Yeah, that's very unfortunate on this hole because of the nature of this is all downhill. So if you end up in the rough or the sand, you need to like flop it, chip it, like you need to find a way to get the ball to stop. It's gonna be tough for me. Hit the downhill, but with the amount of loft and spin, we were able to get it to stop. And we just blew our third or fourth eagle opportunity, and we got a birdie again. It's good. Like, getting birdies nonstop is good, but we definitely have thrown away a couple opportunities for bigger scores. All right, as you can see, the fairway cambers severely to the right, right to left. If you land it somewhere like here, it might bounce into the sand, honestly, or the rough surrounding the sand. Oh, there's no rough here. All right, no rough on this hole, only on the last hole to screw me over. It's a Sleepy Panda course, he does that. So pretty significantly uphill into a downhill for once. So this is probably playing like a up 20 or 25, honestly, from there. So it should land somewhere like here. We're trying to get it to land roughly around here. So it kicks the left, but it's not like down here where it hits a weird bump and goes hard left. It should give us enough room on the fairway to work with. You can even aim a little more to the right and you're going to be comfortable. Like right here, where I show. Very comfortable. That's enough fairway to work with. Just going to loft it very slightly, downhill lie at our feet. Why is that slow? Pull off the green? Yep. Get our first missed green in regulation, unfortunately. Gonna put some spin on it. I just don't want this to go too far away from us. I gotta keep aiming to the right, it feels like. It's a lot of break. Just a little less fast and that would have been in. We break our birdie train. But only our second par. This is why you're like, oh man, but imagine if I got an eagle. Imagine if I could have gotten an eagle. Can't think that way. Just gotta move on. Gotta move on to the next hole. Alright, again, this is a drivable eagle opportunity, but good luck holding the green because as you can see, it's a tampon shape and it wants to go to the left into the bunker. So you need to get it to the right side. That's why I'm using a little bit of shape from left to right. Fade it. So hopefully it lands somewhere like here. It'll land somewhere like here. Bounces to the left and hopefully it just stays up. Honestly, if we could hit it somewhere like here, I think right here-ish, where it kicks a little bit to the right, would be really ideal because hopefully we can clip here. If we can get it to roll onto the green around here, and it goes a little bit to the right and then comes back to the left, uses this slope but doesn't get all the way to the left, that's the ideal spot. It's gonna be tough though. It's gonna be really tough to get this to perfectly work, but let's see if we can do it. Looking solid. I think it's too far to the left though. I think it's just gonna be barely too far to the left. It worked out. It worked out really well. It worked out so well. This is like as good an opportunity as you can get. You can putt from here. Just make sure, because like if you're further into the fringe, the more fringe you have to take on, the more power you should add to your putt. But this is a good position. This is our opportunity. Come on. Oh, it didn't break. I hit it too fast again. Oh, it was a good read if I hit it perfect or closer to perfect. Another birdie, another eagle opportunity left wanting. Is that number 4? It's either number 4 or 5. Right, again, distance control, downhill elevation. It tells you on the tee, right? So control your distance. I'm gonna hit a driver. I'm gonna play for like here-ish because I feel like that's a little more room to work with. And it'll give you a slightly better angle. The right side of the fairway will be better for the angle of approach here. So we're gonna take some distance off. You can de-loft, you can partial, you can shape it into the wind, whatever you do. I'm just gonna show off different ways you can do it. You can partial it like this. Right? Partials have a little less spin, so keep that in mind, but as you can see, it's not dramatically amount. Alright. Wind 75 and 70. Maybe if I give this a tiny bit of de-loft, this is a pretty good distance. So close. But as you can see, these fast greens, they just get away from you. I could have gotten away with just like hitting it straight up. 11. Yeah, I like this. Oh. Stopped breaking in the middle, which it did show that. It did show that the bead was moving a little slower in the middle. I didn't expect that much less. Pain. Not playing as well as the people at the top of... It's still pretty good round for us. This is a tough one. Again, this is one of those where you're going to probably have to play it a little longer because if you're short, it's going to come back off the green. This is a tough one. If you de-loft this, maybe this is a good club. And that's kind of what I'm thinking I have to do here because the reason why I don't want to take a club up is that I have to loft it into the wind then. And it's still going to be like 7 irons. It's going to bounce a little bit. It's such a tough call. It's a little bit in between clubs for me, so I would have to like fully loft my my 7-iron to make this work, and then that gets tricky with aiming and how much the more the wind plays. So I'm going to take this and be happy with it. I'm not happy with the slow, but I think it just gets there. Beautiful. Probably ended up even better than a perfect would have. Because of the bounce, as you can see. I think we still would have been on the green and probably a little past the hole. Would have been a good, it would have, either one would have worked. The only thing that wouldn't have worked is a fast there, so we escaped the bad one and then we're good. All right, keep it in mind. Remember, look at the fairways. It's going to want to kick left, but luckily it's a little bit raised up here, so as long as you don't hit like right here or something, you should be fine. Look at the distance. Up, wind's in our face. We should be good no matter what distance we get. Oh, I slowed that really badly, but luckily this is a little flatter up here, so just carries along. We have a flat lie. You can even aim for that if you want. Aim for the plateau instead of challenging the ridge like I did. Challenging the ridge does give you a little more distance though, and it'll be a slightly shorter shot here. 45, 58 or so. There's a perfect. Haven't had too many perfects this back nine, and it has cost us a few strokes. But that will just do. Broke more than it said it was, but I could see that it was a little more tilted on the green grid, so I could have worm cam there if I really cared. But we're just having fun and shooting some good scores here. Ah, this one's really tough. Anytime you have like wind at your back, you don't have the exact distance your club can go that you need for the shot, and you have like a protected slope like this. As you can see, if you're too short and you don't have, if you land like here, it's going to get up to here and then come back down. The key here is with wind at your back, you need to use this slope to slow the ball down, but you're trying to do it in a way where you get high enough where it can get up there. Especially on a 9-iron, a pitching wedge, an 8-iron. You're going to need to like use the slope to stop the ball, but not get too far. Whereas if you have like a 3-iron, you kind of have to play it like way back here, let it bounce. It'll still have a lot of momentum and roll up and get up, right? So it depends on your club how you handle these protected positions. So 160, I'm playing this like 167, 158 or so, I'm guessing. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. And obviously the more you can loft your club, the better it'll be too. And it'll make it stop a little bit more, so I need to loft this pretty significantly. It's a bit scary. I might be short here. I could very well be short here, but we're going to try this. Ah, too slow. 161. I think that was good. I think that was a really good distance. Without the slow into the wind and the natural tendency of a slow to reduce the distance of your club, that would have been like 167, 168, and would have been perfect. It would have gotten up, and it would have been a pretty short putt. So I'm not upset at the read, at least, and that's the most important thing. Yes, obviously you want to hit a perfect every time, but you can't always get a perfect, so sometimes you just have to make these putts. Get the power. Stopped braking. Looked like it was braking a little bit more. But that might have been on the right side of the slope rather than the left side of the slope. It happens. Alright, let's try to get 14 under. 15 under. We have a chance. Alright, again. Just hit it here. If you aim more right, it looks like it'll probably roll out a little less because you can see that little uphill slope right there in front of the mark or past the marker. So if you want the most distance, you're going to need to play on this left side, challenging the bunkers over here. All I could think of was don't hit it slow. Don't hit it slow. Or don't hit it fast. And I end up slowing it, but it's a good shot. This hole, I remember this hole. Very well protected, but you're gonna have to use this red slope to slow down your ball because you're gonna be hitting a 3 wood or a 3 hybrid or a driver off the deck if you're really far back. So 250. I think this is like 261, so I need to like partial this pretty significantly. I'm gonna try to land it like here. I'm gonna partial it, so that's the only option I really have. I'm okay with this. Landed a bit short. See if it gets up there. Oh, that's so cruel. I'm looking at the spot exactly where I hit. So I got it up to right here, and it still came back down. That's brutal. Maybe it was like right here. That's tough. That hurts. So if I don't hit that slow, we might have had an eagle opportunity. That's it. This is still an eagle opportunity, so have no despair. We have a chance still. Hit the slope too much. Needed to be a yard more. Perfect read though. Distance or the aim was perfect because that would have, if I got that a little further, that would have rolled right into the cup. Beautiful shot. Unfortunate that we couldn't capitalize and get a couple more eagles. We got 0 eagles in the car when we had 6 opportunities. There is 2 drivable par 4s, and I think there are 4 par 5s. Let's look at our round 1 stats. As you can see, I did say we missed that 1 green in regulation. And we missed 1 fairway in regulation. Very good. You know, that's very solid. We didn't make... The further you are away, the harder the putts are going to be because of the speed of the greens and how much they break. And if you end up with any downhill putts, it's going to be tricky. A lot of holes are in, like, front pin locations on round 1. There were at least 3 at the very front of a slope that could bring it back to the fairway, so try not to go over the hole on those, but it's going to be tough and you might have to. So there's at least like 4. There's that par 3 that's pretty long with the wind at your back that you had to use the fairway for, that we drained the putt on miraculously. But as you can see, we played good. Like, I'm still coming back. I'm still rounding back into form, so there are a couple mistakes I'm still making. And my win math isn't absolutely perfect, but as we play more and more, and that's what I'm working on. I actually signed on not to do this tutorial. I was just not going to do a tutorial this week, and then I thought about it. I was like, oh, I could just play CC and show off a little bit. So I hope it was at least educational for you all, and that, as you can see, we are getting better again. Hopefully within a couple of weeks we'll be in fighting form for the top of plat again. But thank you, everybody. I appreciate you all. Like, comment, subscribe. You know the deal. I love you guys. You've been wonderful to me. Thanks for the support. And I will catch you the next time. Probably with plat rounds for the US Open, or as it's called on TGC, the American Open. So I will be streaming those rounds probably tomorrow or today, since it's technically Monday when this is posted. So Monday, today, I should be streaming in the afternoon. Call it like 4 or 5 o'clock p.m. Maybe a little earlier. Check the Twitter, twitter.com/karacakes. Look at the description. It has all those links. It has my Twitch and my Twitter that you can both follow that I will post updates to. So, until next time, thank you guys so much, and see you on the next one.